It's Series 6 of WWF Hasbro figures on today's episode of Baseball King Collectibles. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We are back for Series 6. And these are 6 figures in this series, and they're all signed. All of them. So, bring you along the rest of the way, none other than the Baseball Prince himself. Here he is.
How's everybody doing? Welcome back to the Baseball King Collectibles. This is Series 6 of the Hasbro line. Probably if you're starting off and you were trying to, duplicate my collection here, the easiest series to obtain. A couple of reasons why. Number one reason why everyone's alive. Everyone here is alive and they're still signing and they're still on the conventions. And they're the Series 5 and Series 6 are the least expensive figures in this Hasbro line. Well, least sought after, probably most produced, kind of in the middle of the Hasbro, line at that point. And they were trying to, I guess, make them as popular as possible. They were all over the shelves, Series 5 and 6. Easiest to get, and again, they're all live. So let's start off. Let's get right into it. First one is the El Matador, Tito Santana. Went by his kind of, this gimmick at this point. More of he was like a, what do you call it? People that fight the bulls at that point. The Spanish bull fighters. Peter probably had a problem with it at that point. They certainly would in 2025. But at that point, it was kind of his theme and his gimmick. Long past his tag team days, Strike Force, where he was certainly winning championships, and even his Intercontinental days, where he won the championship. He held the title. He was super popular. This is kind of the tail end of that. Not as popular, kind of weaning off his run, and he would retire shortly after. But this is one of these figures where you can get and obtain in excellent condition for even, again, there's no more foreign cards at this point. So on an American card, of course, $80, $100, easy, right? JSA authenticated. I have a few of these signed. For whatever reason, I got only this one authenticated, and it's probably the least, not the best condition one that I got. I don't know why I picked this one. Green paint pen. Maybe that's why I liked the way the green paint pen looked in contrast with his pink boots and of course green pants. It's again easiest to obtain. He's on the convention all the time. You can get him for probably $15 to sign that. Next is let's go with this one. Repo Man, okay? This is a cool one. I met him, of course. This is also, let me get this right. This is Smash, okay? Barry Darsow, I believe is his name in real life. This is not Axe, this is Smash. This is after the Demolition days. This is after Axe was gone out of WWF and he had his own singles run as the Repo Man, first feuding with the Macho Man. And one of the first episodes of Raw, I think he even appeared. He signed this one. What's yours is mine, and what's mine is mine too. Probably mixed up that phrase a little bit, but that's okay. And then he signs with the Repo Man. Really nice light blue pen. Really kind of matches his getup here. Super cool figure. Really weird gimmick. He literally was a Repo Man. He would have vignettes of him, taking back people's possessions and their cars. And again, weird time in the WWF where these gimmicks were rampant and everyone kind of had a real job as their persona, just in a really weird, twisted way. And this was no exception to that. The Repo Man, of course, I don't know if I show you yet. It is JSA authenticated. Series 1 was his Smash figure, and there's also a tag team, right? Smash and Crush. Am I right about that, or is it Axe and Crush? It's escaping me right now. I believe it is Smash and Crush. So I want to say there's 3 technically Barry Darsow figures. This is Repo Man, right? And $100 figure. This is really nice shape. I'd probably, say 125, sign 150. Again, gettable, super easy to obtain. This next one is Tatanka, also in a nice blue pen. He signs for whatever year, for whatever reason, the year 2020. I guess that means I didn't get the specific one signed because I didn't start getting these signed until 2021-ish. I did meet him, and I won't spoil it. There is also a purple card version of him, and I do have a couple of these signed. So this particular one, it was not one of them. I did get it JSA authenticated. Again, this is one of 2 Tatanka figures. out of the box, there is zero differentiation between the two. So the loose collectors will tell you, I only need one Tatanka figure displayed in my line because it is the exact same figure. This differentiates from the one on card because it is a purple card back. So us on card collectors have to have both, and us signed collectors have to have both signed. So we'll see if I have it. So JSA authenticated. This figure in the 125 range, just much like the other Series 5 and Series 6 figures in this line. Not a ton of value to these, easily obtained, and signed and authenticated in the 150 range. Next is the Berserker. Okay, another one I have never met. He did recently, in the last couple of years, come around into Queens. I didn't meet him. I have another one, I think, unsigned that I would like to get. This is a little weird how he signs. He doesn't have a script signature. He does spell it out. He writes the Berserker and then is saying Huss Huss. I guess he was I don't know what you want to call it, a medieval, not a barbarian, the word escapes me, but that was his gimmick. He had a sword. He feuded with The Undertaker. There's actually a clip on YouTube where he actually stabs the mat with his sword, just narrowly missing The Undertaker. I'm sure he wasn't pleased by that, The Undertaker, because that sword obviously has some type of sharpness to it that would have definitely pierced his skin. You got to watch it on YouTube. The Berserker sword almost stabbing The Undertaker. It's a really cool clip. His run in the WWF was short-lived. He actually had some legal troubles, the man himself, John Nord. So he was not on the convention to sign for a bit. Now I think he's back, and again, you can get him a little bit more rare than guys like Tatanka and El Matador because his signature's wasn't so readily available. JSA authenticated. It's a $150 figure probably in this condition. Look at this nostalgic KB Toys sticker, 3 for $10. Talked about that in other videos. I would love to get as many as we can, 3 for $10. His signature adds, like I said, a tiny bit of value. I would say this is a 175-ish type of range. Man, do I love this one next. Okay, Papa Shango. What a seriously cool figure. He actually comes with, you can see it behind him, his Bones necklace. Okay, his voodoo kind of theme that he had at the time. This is his pre-Kama and pre-Godfather gimmick. Okay, the man himself had a long WWF run. He's really close friends with The Undertaker, and at the time Yokozuna and the Godwins, guys like that. They had their own crew, the BSK crew. So he's always going to have his kind of role in the WWF and on the WWF scene for that reason, being as close to The Undertaker, the biggest name of that era. So they're really good friends. He writes, "Beware of voodoo." I have another couple that have a little bit of different sayings. It's on a really nice light blue paint pen. The reason why I got a lot of these in the light blue, as you see, is it goes really well with the blue background, right? It's not the same color. It's a little bit lighter, so it pops. JSA authenticated. This is, I think, the only one of his that I have that I got authenticated. Again, I have multiples of all of these, and I kind of only got one of each authenticated. I'll probably, double back to JSA and get some of these. They're only like $20 a pop to get them authenticated, so it's worth it. It's good to have. I know they're authentic because I got them myself. So, but again, to have them in the collection authenticated is a little bit cooler. Here's the last one and the hardest one to get. Ric Flair, right? Oh my God, how iconic is Ric Flair? But these days he is in the WWF for a year or two only, maybe 3 years. I don't even think that long. He had a huge NWA, WCW run in the 70s, 80s, early 90s. This is like 92, 93. It says 92, probably came out 93-ish. His intro to the WWF was winning the Royal Rumble and winning the championship. Came in, again, just right away in the top of the scene. With Mr. Perfect behind him was pretty cool. At this point, he had a contract dispute with WCW. He left. Vince McMahon was happy to have him here. He's in his probably early to mid 40s at that point. This is early 90s. Would quickly go back to WCW, a couple years later, after winning the championship and never quite feuding with Hogan. They teased it a little bit, but at the WrestleMania where he was supposed to fight Hogan, he fights Macho Man instead, and Hogan fights Sid instead. We missed out on a WWF Ric Flair Hogan battle, but we did get that in WCW a couple years later when he went back and Hogan followed. Before his Hollywood Hogan run, he feuded with Flair. Hogan was the face, of course. Flair played an amazing heel. Watch some of his promos. You'll just get caught up in them for as long as you can because they are just iconic. Him and the Macho Man with their promos were just incredible, incredible. Late 80s, early 90s, Ric Flair, Macho Man, even Ric Flair, even before that, early to mid 80s. Just watch some of them. You'll thank me. This is JSA Authenticated. He writes Ric Flair 16-time. He's a 16-time champ between WCW, WWF, and probably even NWA. I'm not sure exactly where the 16 comes into play, but it's not obviously just WWF. He had a long run of winning championships. He'd come back to WWF in the early 2000s or after WCW disbanded, of course, and he would have a big a role as well with younger guys at the time like Triple H, Batista, and Randy Orton. The name of their group kind of escapes me at this point, but he was kind of the older statesman at that point, and I guess a playoff of his Four Horsemen days where there was four guys, and he would kind of lead as well, but more in the background, letting those other three kind of do the grunt work. He wasn't really wrestling so much at that point, although he still was, and some of his matches later on with his retirement match with Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania was incredible. Again, this is later in his career. This is in his 50s by this point. Watch some of his stuff from WCW, NWA, his promos, some of his 60-minute matches against Ricky Steamboat. I can go on and on and on about Ric Flair. He's one of my favorites. He's a lot of people's favorites. And he wasn't a good guy, a face, so to speak, in his wrestling days. But they still cheered for him. Even as a bad guy, they still cheered for him. He was so entertaining. He is one of the absolute best. He is on the Mount Rushmore. A lot of people's Mount Rushmore of wrestlers and entertainers, of course. So that's it. That's Series 6. Thank you for stopping by again. Series 7, 8, and 9 coming right up after that. And are they complete? I teased it a little bit. I think they may be. They may not be. We will see. I can tell you there are some huge names coming up in 7, 8, and 9. You guys know them already. I'm not spoiling anything. I'm not saying that they're signed or not, but we're talking Crush. We're talking Mr. Perfect. We're talking Yokozuna, Bam Bam Bigelow. Okay, there's a lot. Doink. Okay, the original Matt Bourne Doink, not the Steve Kern Doink from Series 5 I was talking about a little bit. Big names coming up. Are they signed? Are they not? Some living legends like The Undertaker and Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. Guys like Razor Ramon, Kamala, who passed. There's a lot of big names coming up in 7, 8, and 9. So stay tuned to the Baseball King Collectibles where we have this Hasbro series going. Subscribe, like, share, and comment. And watch the playlist where, again, I've kind of combined all the videos into one. You could binge watch them like a Netflix series. We'll see you soon. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.